Story 1. Sports betting. My friends all talk about making bets constantly. I have done it a few times, lose $5, and get mad about it for a week. I do not know how they consistently blow $100 to $200 a weekend and only win sometimes. Story 2. Crocs. My husband loves them, my mom loves them, even my toddler has a pair now. I let them live their best Croc life with no judgment or comments, but I think they're hideous. Story 3. Warm or hot? Sunny weather. I don't know how anyone can stand it. The occasional day is nice, but give me a day in the 50s or 60s with a nice breeze and cloud cover any day. Story 4. Clubbing. It sucks. You spend loads of money to be stuck in a dark room with sweaty strangers and music so loud you can't talk to your friends. The drinks are overpriced, the floor is sticky, and all the music sounds the same. Story 5. Constantly be engaged with others. Friday, you must go out, weekends, you must have plans. Sometimes, I just want to relax at home with a book, little candles, and not meet a single soul for 2 days straight. Sometimes, I really enjoy an intense social life. Story 6. Modern fashion. I don't care if the items of clothing were worn or considered fashionable in 1850. If they look good on me, I'd still wear them and not care about others' opinions. People care too much about trendy clothes anyway. Story 7. Most ridiculously famous celebrities who get so overhyped and treated like idols. Think Beyoncé. I believe it's a cultish thing where everyone just joins in because they see others do so. And that to me is more annoying than the celebrity themselves. But celebrity culture in general is ghoulish and preys on people's loneliness. Story 8. Influencers. They annoy me greatly. Get famous for dancing in front of a camera to some corny song. We're game streamers. Game streamers gross me out and irritate me. They're unfunny, and laugh and joke at the expense of unwilling people. Story 9. I never liked earbuds. Not only am I worried about them falling out, but more importantly, the idea of putting stuff in your ears seems gross to me. I'm quite happy with the wireless over-the-ear headphones I currently use. Story 10. Botox and lip filler. The majority of people I see where I live have it. Even young teens now, as there is not enough regulation. There is a myth that it stops aging, when in reality it stretches the skin, therefore aging you faster. Meaning you would constantly have to get more over time. Story 11. Marvel. I never cared about superheroes. I found it to be trite and mediocre but never hated it. However, after nearly 2 decades of having Marvel pushed on me, I am sick of it. My 11-year-old loves it, so I'm forced to tolerate and pretend to be somewhat interested for his sake. Story 12. Dating. I'm sure glad I met my wife through a non-dating happenstance. In person, without being pushed or pulled together online or through friends. Story 13. Anime and manga. I'm Generation X, so I only grew up with the first stirrings of manga and anime in the West, like Battle of the Planets, Astro Boy, Akira, Lone Wolf, and Cub. But I missed the whole influx in the next generation when it took over pop culture. And it all weirds me out. I feel like the old person in the 60s who hated the rock and roll that the young people were all listening to. Story 14. Parasocial relationships are so odd to me. I remember when I was in my early teens, there was a show on MTV where you could meet your favorite celebrity. I can't remember the name of the show. But anyway, this one girl met some older male celebrity and she started crying hysterically, saying he's always been like a dad to her. Huh? He doesn't even know you exist yet. The way we hold these celebrities up on a pedestal is highly concerning. Story 15. Sports. Although I do not hate sports, I just have never seen the attraction to big commercial games. Watching friends play? Sure. Playing yourself? Definitely. Some people really get worked up over their teams to the point that some universities seem to exist to justify the football team, and politicians get away with spending major taxpayer funds gifting stadiums to wealthy team owners. Story 16. Traveling. It would be nice to see new places if I could teleport there and back for an afternoon, but I find the commute and being away from home for days at a time absolutely miserable to the point where it's not worth it to me. Story 17. Reality TV, the lifestyle kind like Kardashians, Real Housewives, Bachelor, etc. I do, however, love competition-based reality shows. Big Brother, The Challenge, Survivor. Story 18. worrying about what other people do with their bodies. It makes no sense to me. Who cares? It's so weird to be concerned with what people want to do. Story 19. Drinking culture. I guess it's just because I don't really drink much, but everything is so centered around drinking these days. Bowling alleys are now becoming Bolero, Topgolf, Putt Shack, etc. Everything that used to be just fun is now being commercialized and centered around food and alcohol. Story 20. Celebrities, they are just rich artists. That's cool, but I'm not going to worship them. I'm glad they are able to live off their art, but that's the extent it goes for me. Story 21. Watching sports. I didn't grow up in a sporty family that had to turn the game on every week, so I was surprised to see how many people watch sports all the time. I tried to like it in college, but I've never really enjoyed it, and I would never watch sports on TV willingly. I'd much rather turn on a TV show or movie. I also don't like attending sporting events like football, etc., because there are too many people and I feel like I can't easily get away if I want to. It's just too much of a hassle. Also, the weather is never perfect. It's always too hot or too cold, and I just don't enjoy it. Also, having to sit still on bleachers for hours triggers my attention deficit disorder or something, and I just feel like I want to run away. I'm convinced that watching football, basketball, baseball, etc. is just a bandwagon everyone jumps on and pretends to like because they're expected to. Story 22. Baby fever? I am staying child-free forever because being a parent doesn't seem right for me at all. I have no parenting instincts. The sound of a child crying doesn't make me want to comfort it. I want to run away. I don't like the sound of children laughing because they're very high-pitched and they're expensive to raise. If anything goes wrong, the parent is entirely responsible, and just no, not for me. Story 23. Alcohol. I don't like the taste. I don't like how it makes me feel. I don't like the fixation culture has on it. It is a poison, and people will defend it as if it isn't, even though science would prove them wrong. I have drunk alcohol, and I am fine with people drinking it. I just wish it wasn't seen as a culturally acceptable way of killing yourself. I wish when someone told me how much they drink, I could give them the same look I get when I tell them how much sugar-free soda I drink. Alcohol should be seen as a minimum use thing, and jokes about drinking whole bottles of wine and getting wasted are annoying to me. Story 24. Brooklyn 99. I watch clips that may pop up on my feed, but after actually watching a few episodes, the humor just doesn't do it for me. I don't find it very funny. Story 25. This is controversial, but anime. I've tried getting into it on several occasions, but as someone who doesn't have any immediate cultural ties to it, I've never understood the lure. Story 26. As someone allergic to whey and milk, knowing that about 65% of the world's population is lactose intolerant, and that milk is one of the top allergens, I don't understand why milk is hidden in everything. This includes restaurants tenderizing steak, soaking potatoes for creaminess, and making chicken plumper and whiter. If one chooses to eat dairy products, that is fine, but hiding it in foods is not cool. Story 27. Crime documentaries, true crime, and the like. My wife is obsessed with them, and I can't stand them. There's an interesting case every now and then, and I watch it with her because that's what you do in a relationship. Plus, she gets mad if I try to do something else because then we're not spending time together. Maybe it's just me, but I don't need to hear all the horrible details about this or that serial killer and all the innocent victims, especially when they're kids. Let me watch some fantasy or science fiction where the good guys win and the bad guys lose. I see enough terrible things at work. Story 28. I'm generally someone who doesn't have a strong, negative reaction to things that would usually make people uncomfortable if there's no logical reason to. For example, if something has been thoroughly cleaned of germs, then I don't mind putting my tongue on it or eating it, whereas some people behave as if the germs are still there. However, I cannot bring myself to engage in the act of analingus. Story 29. TikTok. I find the trends and the multitude of people dancing and pointing at words on screen to be so incredibly corny. It is a platform for pick-me people and tryhards. Story 30. Game of Thrones, but really any dragon and sword fighting with weird English accents, fantasy movie or show. That entire genre just does absolutely nothing for me, and nothing could make it interesting. Story 31. Football. American football. Gods, I hate American football and the absolute chokehold it has on people's sports attention. It's not even that cool of a game.